A night in the Shakespeare ward. A Shakespearean mental health fantasy. Or the bard deconstructed in a psych ward. And now, Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth the First.
Though wiser monarchs may succeed me, none will love you more than I. Uneasy rests the head that wears the crown, the hollow crown. The hollow crown. From our family pharmacy atop Hill Hill. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf, of the ravine salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab. Add thereto a tiger's children for the ingredients. By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. Enter, balding doctor of Viennese psychiatry.
To expostulate what psychotherapy should be, what it is on a day-to-day basis, for nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Our noble patient nurse is mad, oscillating between delusions of grandeur, call it, and bipolar disorder, manic depression to you, conventionally and stereotypically characteristic of artists. In other words, the proverbial thin line between madness and genius. So be sure to remain as detached as any text and as cool as
a new patient! But look where sadly the poor wretch comes, toting his belongings.
Let's hide and prognosticate him.
To hack it or not to hack it. That is the confusion. Whether it is more neurotic to download the bits and bytes of outrageous program, or to take cursor against a megabyte of files, and by opposing, delete them. To cancel, erase, to say we delete the hacking and the 1,000 natural extremities that hacker flesh infects. 'Tis a program devoutly to be saved. Perchance to cybersex. Aye, there's the flub. For in that hacker interrupt us what cybersex may come when we have signed off this modem spoil. must give us pause to ponder the clogging of our heart's arteries. For who would bear the whips and chains of error codes? The retching of undigested meanings, the delay of gigabytes of compuporn, when he himself might his coitus make with a bare keyboard. Thus, DOS makes copies for us all, and formats of gigaload and seduction. With this regard, their contents turn awry and choose the name of action. Software, you know, digital Ophelia. If, in thy virtual reality, be all my hard disk memory.
Thou art keen on computers, my lord, but forgets not thy pill. Will, for better or worse, I am thy nurse.
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I meant my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Did you think I meant country matter?
You are merry.
That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs.
How pregnant sometimes his replies are. You are keen, my lord, you are keen.
Because you are groaning to take off mine edge.
You are not. You are not.
Nay, I am fraught.
Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it.
In the Shakespeare ward, the nurses speak Elizabethan. They fool me to the top of my bent. Not. Is this the generation of love? Is this generation X? Hot thoughts, hot blood, hot deeds. Why, they are vipers. Is love a generation of vipers? Oops. You caught me in one of my many plagiarisms. Generation of vipers, of course, comes from the Old Testament. Besides, you know what they say. Mediocre poets borrow, great poets steal. And I made many a writer rich in that regard, just as King David riffed on Sidon and Garfunkel with my false staff and my Shakespeare. Who was I? Arose by any other name concocted over cocktails. Did the Queen ghost my ghosts? Was I dropped in time, a medium from an unfathomed channel? Did my quill quiver to an unheard of scripture from an upstart heaven? Did I dream in energies undreamt in your philosophies? Did I do a bodhisattva and sit with the Buddha, mingle with Mozart, jam with Thelonious, jive with Mahavishnu, boogie with the Beatles, and then return again, boomerang, oh brave new world, back to Elizabethan England to report on atoms and orbits, holocausts and holograms, live from our Saturday night satellite laser beam stage. A stage, my kingdom in a sideboard for a stage.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounce it to you trippingly off the tongue.
What time of day is it, nurse?
The body hand of the dial is at the prick of noon. Damn! I overparked in a 2-hour limit. I must hie me thither. We march to different meters, my lord. I will be right over.
I am an actor, you know, in a theater of midnight mushrooms called the Globe, always in competition with bear baiting, cockfights, and Super Bowls, while under assault from the Puritans, branding the theater an abomination of the devil, where the sexes go, where we nickname God's creatures and sing filthy songs. Every century has its Jesse Helms. If music be the food of love, play on, fool. Long time ago, the world began with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain it raineth every day. But that's all one, our play is done, and we'll strive to please you every day. Oh, how quaint. so famous I could faint.
I told you not to call me at work. This wacko needs constant watching. Oh, it beats working the Napoleon and Jesus wards. You just said a buzzword, I gotta go. Sayest thou feels faint, my lord?
When I think of 400 years of no royalties and no compounding interest, I do. Public domain, my ass.
Season your admiration awhile with the gram of cognitin till the doctor cometh.
I was nothing if not a commercial playwright. Once a stagehand showed me an old moth-beaten script of Romeo and Juliet. Toilet paper, I told him. What could be more useless than a script of a play already performed? I was strictly box office. I'm feeling groggy, nurse. What's in those pills?
Rest thou assured, ingredients 100% organic.
Organic. So is the fecundity of your fecal matter. Where's the doctor?
At home, my lord.
Ah, let the door be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere else but in his own house. Ah, Herr Doctor. Bist du vom Himmel gefallen?
Have I dropped from heaven, you ask? We will sprechen the Queen's English, if you please.
Well, don't get a complex of it.
I am here to psychoanalyze you und nicht vice versa. Weißt du?
It's Greek to me.
And don't try to deny you're in denial.
Are you a kike? Or a kraut? Ziggy? Both?
Prick me, do I not bleed? Tickle me, do I not laugh? Poison me, do I not die? Is not a Jew warmed and cooled by the same summer and winter as a Christian? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge?
Zoons! Sounds like my unlovable Shylock, father of lovable Jessica, who elopes with a lovable Goy.
Were you an anti-Semite, William?
And an anti-feminist, forsooth.
Though I am posed this two-part question in one breath, let me take a few to answer. The man that hath no music in himself, nor is not moved by the concord of sweet sounds, is fit for treasons, stratagems, and spoils. This is a poem song of life's permeable mutations. Full fathom 5, thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell. Hark, now I hear them ding. Dawn bell. Yes, Doctor, I was not above pandering to the prejudices of paying audiences. There were no NEA grants in those days. No, my only patron when the theaters closed because of the plague was a young nobleman who only wanted me to play the beast with 2 backs with him.
Ah, so everything's premised on sex, as I've promised over and over.
And yes, viewed from your politically correct perspective, I took a few cheap shots for easy laughs. Besides, I didn't want to appear soft on Judaism. So when it came to Jew baiting, I was only half an Ezra Pound.
At least Pound made the quatrains run on time.
Ezra Pound said Shakespeare used his plays as a vehicle to tack his poetry onto.
How tacky of me.
How about a sample of your recent poetry?
I thought you'd never ask. I'll dash something off. Once more, my floppy poetry disc, once more. Mad monk. We descended from the trees, true or false? Or did the serpent descend the trees, loaded with state-of-the-art sliding scale apples? Why do I see fallen lips in the bark of trees and labia major constellations at night? Am I falling between the cracks? Am I psychosomatically well, dancing on an ice cube? I refuse to answer on the grounds I'm an asparagus. Lunatic fringe in the middle of the road. Is womb water, early ocean water, reproducing original reproduction? In a previous life, I was an anchovy. Now, a humanoid billy goat in pursuit of phantasmagorical orgies of the biosphere. The decadence I've so badly wanted to die of still eludes me, although I did have sex once. Which is no reason to start another men's consciousness-raising group called Raise Erection Anonymous. Midlife crisis hotline, shlummy or schlemazel here. Those to whom I owe a nervous breakdown, be patient. Meanwhile, you'll cook for me, savoring the sauce of the teriyaki. How many times have we heard the word? And the word is relationship. But on the 7th day he rested, and on the 8th resumed creation. And the new word was money. Let there be another medium of exchange other than bodily fluids. And there was mad money.
Your style certainly has altered.
I'm older now. It's a pleasure to write sheer poetry and not have to tack it on to plays to make money. Would you like to hear part of the piece I'm working on? I saw the best minds of my generation. The abused bodies of little girls in dark corners impaled to their father's laps.
How too true, my lord, and in my own case, too. One of the reasons, no doubt, I became a psyche-scarred psychiatric nurse who never knew innocence. But you have not yet responded to my query, dearie.
Ah, yes, was I misogynistically inclined? Hardly. Appertaining indeed to the distaff side of fringe upon a petticoat in the skirts of a forest. And despite my most famous character's cry of despair, frailty, thy name is woman. Who was a more woman-worshipping, gender-bending pro-feminist than I? Look at my Rosalind program, dominatrix in drag, whipping up Orlando's love in the Forest of Arden. Forest of Arden.
There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving rosalyn on their barks, hangs odes on hawthorns and elegies on brambles. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaped. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness. And I tell you, deserves a dark house and a whip, as madmen do. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
And my equally domineering dear lady of feigned disdain, Beatrice, who held her own in skirts, never skirting a skirmish with Squire Benedict's. She had bad dreams, but woke herself with laughing.
So, dream analysis is one of my specialties. Have you had any midsummer nocturnal emissions?
Yes, now that you mention it, I do have this recurring dream.
Oh, God.
How grotesque! I feel I'm about to metamorphose, probably from those pills you have given me. And there's this queen of the fairies who's bewitched by some secret secretion love potion number 9.
Very interesting. Metamorphose, you say? Into what? A phallic symbol, I bet.
If I tell you, you'll think me an ounce.
Since when are you so adept at post-war electronics that viruses infect? It's like your alter ego.
I was always a hacker. I'm adept because I adapt, as any literary opportunist would. Or opportunistic infection, some would say.
Who would say?
I hyperbolized, nurse.
Ooh, don't hyperventilate me like that.
walk up in town here, and I will sing, that they will see that I am not afraid.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
Thee, oh soul cock, so black of hue, with orange tawny bill, the throstle with his note so true, the wren with little quill,
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed? I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamored of thy note. So mine eye enthralled to thy shape. I am moved at the first view to swear, I love thee.
Methinks, mistress, you should have little reason for that. And yet, to speak the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. Nay, I can Glick upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Not so, neither. But if I had wit enough to get out of this ward, I'd have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this ward do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here whether thou wilt or no. I am Titania, a spirit of no common rate. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee. Peach blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed. Be kind and courteous to this patient. Hop in his walks and gambol in his eyes. Feed him with apricots and dewberries come. Sit thee down upon this flowery bed, while I thy amiable cheeks do coy, and stick musk roses in thy sleek smooth head, and kiss thy fair large ears, my gentle joy.
I must to the barber's, for methinks I'm marvellous hairy about the face, and I'm such a tender ass that if my hair do but tickle, I must scratch.
Say, sweet love, what thou desirest to eat.
I could munch some of your good dry oats, but I pray you, oh, let none of your people stir me, for I have an exposition of sleep come upon me.
Sleep thou, and I will wind thee in my arms.
How sharper than a serpent's tooth.
Fairies, be gone, and be always away. So doth the woodbine the sweet honeysuckle gently entwist. The female ivy so enrings the barky fingers of the elm. Oh, how I love thee, how I dote on thee.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, your classic Beauty und der Beast syndrome, revealing severe low self-esteem, exacerbated by libido inferiority, especially when Beast is the dreamer und nicht the dreamee. However, the self-negation is negated partially by Beauty embracing Beast, indicative of a schizophrenic personality on the part of you, William the Dreamer. So out of this ward, indeed, do not desire to go. I must find out as much as I can about you, so I can author the definitive psychological profile case study of William Shakespeare, heretofore the greatest mystery man of history. What a tour de farce for me. Competition is stiff amongst us Austrian analysts. I want to live beyond the tomb in my tomes and have mine own library of Congress number.
Publish or perish.
First, let's probe the Oedipal implications of your upraising. Did your mother love you?
Yes.
Did she breastfeed you?
Yes. Did wean me when I did taste the wormwood on her nipple and felt it bitter, and then to see me fall out with the tit.
Falling in after falling out may make us three.
Nurse, are you suggesting a menage a trois?
Perhaps 2/3 of one.
Ah, yes, the recorders. Let me see one. Will you play upon this pipe?
My lord, I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, I cannot.
I beseech you.
I know no touch of it, my lord.
It is as easy as lying. Govern these bandages with your thumb and fingers. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most eloquent music. Look you, these are the stars.
But these cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill.
Why, look you now! What an unworthy thing you would make of me! You would play upon me! You would seem to know my stops! You would pluck out the heart of my mystery! You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass! Yet there is much music, excellent voice in this little organ. Yet cannot you make it speak? Splot! Do you think I am easy to be played upon than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will, though you fret me, you cannot play upon me. Cannot you see? I am Bottom, the weaver of fleas.
I'm beginning to think he's the bard indeed.
And you want to exploit him. So what else is new?
I just want to publish his dream.
What say you?
Who's crazier? A lunatic Shakespeare? Someone who thinks he can cure people by adjusting to a lunatic society.
I'm but mad, north by northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Our patient is the most well-adjusted individual in history. So what's he doing here?
That's a hell of a paradox coming from a psychiatric nurse.
Nay, I have an eye of you.
I am abashed, William.
Well, I never bashed you.
Maybe he's the bard to break the bind finally.
No, because you can never put the lid on your id.
Maybe this time I did.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft.
I am scant jealous of your chap-fallen lover.
In that case, have some crania titania.
You have good head, my lord, but here's some skull for the dull.
What a depleted seat of the mind is this I see before me. Do not ask at whom the bone is thrown. It is thrown at thee.
The dead Kennedys, they catch in the Oval Office. With footballs, they said. But we know from Maryland it was skulls. Lend me your errors, doctor. You know I laid the groundwork for your banal dream analysis. Look at my sleep-walking case study, Lady Macbeth, through whom I demonstrate what you moderns term the subconscious. In my wake-up call, down the centuries to Uvini shrieks. Enter Doctor of Physic and Waiting Wolf. I have seen her rise from her bed with her nightgown about her, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, and then return again to bed, all this while in a most fast sleep.
In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That which I will not report of her.
Well, you may to me.
No! Neither to you nor anyone, having no brains to confirm my speech. No, you. Here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life, fast asleep.
Her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense are shut.
Yet here's a spot. Oh, damn spot, don't I say? 1, 2. Why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier unafraid. What need we fear? Who knows it? And when none can call our power to account. And who would have thought the old man to have so much blood in him? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? Will this hand ne'er be clean? Is the smell of blood still? All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten the land. Oh! Oh!
This malady is beyond my practice. Yes, William, you sounded the toxic call for us all. I read and devoured you with all the avid wonder of self-discovery. Lady Macbeth had an Electra complex, incidentally. And did you know my name means joy, as in Freude, Schöner, Goethe, Funken? In any case, my colleagues accused me of making a fetish of you, the god of my idolatry. Few in history knew themselves better than you. A worse sin than self-love is self-neglect, said the most profound of poets. You are also the most profound of psychologists.
What about you, Doctor? Have you ever been in awe of beauty and wonder? We wonder.
Oh, my love loves me and all the wonders I see.
Why am I taking more and more flack over the years?
Because your relationships are tortured, yet linear in your application of a scientific method to human relationships overlaid by categories and your endless possession of people called into a special office to be asked X, Y, and Z.
Get thee glasses, and like a scurvy politician seem to see the things thou dost not.
Doctor, you may not even outlast this century. You peaked in the 50s.
Stop gangbanging me already!
And yes, Doctor, I was quite at home in a heavy, metal milieu. Man is such a giddy animal, you know!
To thine own self be true.
I've also staged paperboards of the brain, full-blown psychoses, real and feigned. I was the first theater of the absurdist. A modern philosopher called me the first existentialist, especially in my comedy of King Lear. And there's always my flipped-out Ophelia, fascinating painters, poets, and psychiatrists. Down the centuries, from the pre-Raphaelites to Bob Dylan to a bard of Berkeley. Ophelia in the age of Prozac.
They wouldn't let me die. They give me stelazine twice a day with cogentin and some stuff to make my bowels move. They'll probably let my boyfriend go free, you mark my words. He'll end up on some rooftop shooting at anything that moves. Like me. I never get a break. They let me keep my dimes, they took away my checks, as if I had a lot I could buy in this hole. My scene was supposed to be the most pathetic in all of Shakespeare. Look what they did to me. God, now they're talking about shock treatments. Why didn't they just let me keep on singing? I wasn't hurting anybody. I didn't want you a little crazy anyway. I was always trying to obey my father. What a pompous ass. I followed his advice and he changed his mind. Perfect politician, that's another one that ought to be locked away. A lot of people will study my speech pattern. But pay attention, I'm not rhyming now, I'm just waiting for my group. I swear the only one who's normal shot her husband. All the shrinks around here are men. They expect us to like them. I saw one spend 15 minutes combing his bald spot. He looked up, saw me laughing. That might mean more stelazine. There I go again, rhyming.
Out. Brief candle.
Oh, wonder. How many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
The trick of that voice. My darling bud of May, Miranda, after whom astronomers will name a moon of Uranus, Miranda.
If by your art to my dearest father you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. I have suffered with those I saw suffer.
Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done. No harm. And her brother moon satellite psychic, Ariel, also from my play about forgiveness.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I.
Orbiting forever out of the reach of Prospero. Wizard though he was, couldn't time trip. I was alive when they burnt alive Giordano Bruno for predicting relativity. I predicted Descartes and Harvey, naming the body a machine and charting blood coursing through the veins. Fortunately, I wasn't torched at the stake for my pains. What is your modern history but a murderous religion, replaced by a murderous nationalism? I see religion in politics again rearing its ugly head. I like what good old Frederick the Great said. In Prussia, everyone has to get to heaven on their own. And here, rearing their regal heads, my king and queen of the fairies, Oberon and Titania, now star-crossed lunar lovers, along with Ariel and Miranda, illuminating the Uranian night. From the Globe Theatre to Uranus. Yesterday the planet, today the solar system, tomorrow the galaxy. Psyche. Psyche.
Must you program dreams that spoof the Fuhrer, evoking painful associations for me? You know I'm a fugitive of Nazi persecution.
If our cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us. So said the German people 3.5 centuries down the road.
Is that from one of the history plays?
We are such stuff as dreams are made on. The fault, dear doctor, lies not in our stars, but in ourselves.
Another non sequitur from a disordered mind.
Yon Cassius has a lean and hungry look.
Would he were fatter, and reinforcing this aspect of astrological aspects, waxes my dashing Edmund the bastard. This is the excellent foppery of the world, that when we are sick in fortune, we make guilty of our disasters the sun, the moon, and stars, as if we were villains on necessity, fools by heavenly compulsion, knaves, thieves, and treacherous by spherical predominance, adulterers, liars, and drunkards by enforced obedience of planetary influence. My father compounded with my mother under the dragon's tail, and my nativity was under Ursa Major, so that it follows that I am rough and lecherous. But I should have been that I am, had the mainless star in the firmament twinkled on my bastardizing.
Tell me, William, what's your opinion of reincarnation? Do you believe in it?
I was dormant throughout the amoebic revolution. But as the dog in the cartoon said, if you'd asked me that 500 years ago, I'd have said no. Actually, the last time I came back, I got my guts splattered in the trenches of World War I in my late teens. This time, a psych ward I thought would be safer and saner. Your puerile probings notwithstanding.
You mean you're sane and the world's crazy? Don't answer.
Oh, God! I could be bound in a nut house and count myself king of infinite sanity.
That's not what Hamlet said.
No, that's what I said.
And I said, well-oiled hypocrisy is the lubricant of society, without which civilization would unravel.
And I say that Jesus came back once as another Jew, Karl Marx.
Another Jew?
Just walk to the Jesus ward barefoot and ask him. And did you know that sometimes Jesus comes back again to visit Shiva, Buddha, Isis, and Vishnu, just to cross-dress divinities?
You're pulling my leg again.
I should have liked to have written a Jesus Christ superstar kind of a play, but the subject was too hard to handle in my day.
It depresseth me working the ward of the Lord. Dry sorrow drains his blood, because Sermon on the Mount is so beyond our moral reach.
To err is human, to forgive divine.
Shall we sneak a peek into the Jesus ward? Oh, come on, Doctor, I beseech and exhort. Be a sport.
It's not ethically kosher, but all right.
Cool.
in that old town region,
Remember, brother, when you're alone and awake at 3 a.m. and gas stains from the taco you had the night before won't let you sleep. Don't wallow in the wee hour gloom of your room. Clasp Jesus to your bosom, brother, because there's no lottery in heaven, brother. No, not there. It takes a buck of prayer to keep God's our only sponsor on the air. Because if I don't get 2 million smackaroos in 2 weeks, I'll die. That's right, D-I-E, perish from the face of the earth. And we know I'm too young. The Lord's work is not done. He told me so in tongues. He said, Shambalaya, Maya, Raya, Poya, Toyota, Kapaka, Daga, Kapaka, Cadillac. He said, it is more blessed to give than receive. So send, or call 1-900 Madonna. Only $3.95 a minute, prorated for premature salvation. A week's pay is all I say to support our coast-to-coast crusade to cast out Satan's sodomizers with their bull whips and bodily fluids. Because I'm here, brothers and sisters, to wrestle the devil within you.
Let he among you that is without sin cast the first stone. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, then thou shalt see clearly to cast the mote out of thy brother's eye.
What did he say?
I say, by thine own words shalt thou be condemned. Lay not up for yourself treasures on earth, where rust and moth doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. For where thy treasure is, there will thy heart be also. By their fruit ye shall know them. The meek shall inherit the earth.
Who was that son of man anyway? Widows of fixed income, I say.
Beware of false prophets.
Did he say prophets?
Who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Anyway, widows, I say, invest and beget shares in our Noah's Ark theme park. See the animals that man gave names to, 2 by 2. Mickey and Minnie, Ronald and Donald, Reagan and Bush, but no Darwinian monkey. Thrill to the rising slides and rides and... Oh my God, I know you now, my Savior.
Not everyone that saith unto me,
Lord, Lord,
shall enter unto the kingdom of heaven. Many will say unto me on that day,
Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied and profited in thy name, and cast out devils, because viruses don't have civil rights, and in thy name done many wonderful works?
Then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Hey, it's a living. I knew that would be close to the bone.
Sweet are the uses of adversity.
As a famous successor of mine once said, there's a hell of a good universe next door, let's go.
Of all that is written, I like only that which is written in blood, said an old family friend.
Tell me, William, are you familiar with the phenomena of serial killers, mass murders, and drive-by shootings?
Well, in my day, murder had more meaning.
Don't try to change the subject. Now back to your sexuality.
Back to Juliet. Who was more poetic and sensuous? Computer on the wall. No one yet. No, not at all. Her sun sign, the apex of Leo. Sexually cognizant at the age of 2. Well instructed in a nurse's tutelage in the masturbatory arts at 12. And about to burst on the brink of 14.
spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalkative and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil knight, thou sober-suited matron all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood, bathing in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love grow bold. Come, night. Come, Romeo, come thou day and night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night. Come, loving black-browed night, give me my Romeo. And when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he shall make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night, and pay no worship to the garish sun. I have bought the mansion of love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed.
Romeo! Oh. The mansion of love, sold but not enjoyed. It's no happenstance that I used a real estate metaphor. I was quite a developer of properties in those days for century 17. Castles or shopping malls, Donald Trump or Her Majesty the Queen. Century 21 or century 17. When writing what are considered my greatest plays in London, I was known in Stratford only as a successful businessman. As another of my successors succinctly said, money is a kind of poetry.
Neither a borrower or a lender be.
Your digressions are edifying, William, but please stick to the subject of your hand, sexuality. I confess I find it fascinating how you subtextually emphasize Juliet's congenital and developmental sensuality, including the nurse's onanistic instructions. No wonder the Puritans were up in arms against the theater. I'm curious, how would you handle the situation today?
I would burlesque it. Nurse, I'm going to program a mime for the doctor's edification.
Fine.
Let's call this Juliet's Finger. Only a fig leaf away from well-endowed endowments of the arts shall the subcommittee on un-American no-nos subpoena body bill of Avon for subverting the subsidized arts. Who is sleazier than Juliet's nurse tutoring her apt pupil in the masturbatory arts at 10 to 12? Now by my maidenhood, at 12-year-old I bade her, quoth the nurse, to C-O-M-E, come. More Elizabethan clit-lit kiddie porn. You're so responsive to my psychiatric needs, nurse.
I'm trained to be. I'm attuned to all the Elizabethan responses and Shakespearean cues, including the unusual and the bizarre. As T.S. said, give me that Shakespearean rag. All in a day's eternal cycle.
That's not what T.S. said.
You're so postmodern.
We used to call it playing to the pit. But there's more to me in my plays than sexuality. Who's more the soul of perfection than Portia? Flowing golden tresses and dresses, or disguised in judicial robes, beating the barristers at their own pound of flesh game, tipping the scales against Shylock, the devil who cites scripture for his own purposes.
The quality of mercy is not strained.
And who more sensitive and vulnerable victim of the green-eyed monster jealousy than Desdemona, strangled in her own sheets at the altar of Othello's insecurities. Let's call this the doctor's dream.
It is the cause, my soul, it is the cause. Let me not name it to you, you chaste stars, it is the cause. Yet I'll not shed her blood, nor scar that whiter skin of hers than snow, and smooth as monumental alabaster. Yet she must die, else she'll betray more men. O balmy breath, that doth almost persuade justice to break her sword. One more, one more. Be thus when thou art dead, and I will kill thee and love thee after. One more, one more. So sweet was ne'er so fatal. I must weep, but they are cruel tears. This sorrow's heavenly. It strikes where it doth love.
The Bible warned us. Jealousy cruel as the grave.
Shut up. I know it's the graveyard shift. We're understeered and staffed. I know. It's Saturday night and you're lonely, my horny honey, and we were supposed to see much ado about nothing. But I'm living it! No, I am not paying more attention to my iambic lunatic pentameter punster than thou. Although he does have a way with words. What? You're jealous of him, aren't you? So's the doctor. Cease your incessant nagging and gagging on your insecurities. Can't you see freedom excites me and independence whets my hunger? What? I am not a hypocrite. It's fine with me if my lovers pour their treasures in a foreign lap safely. You're more possessive than my husband.
Oh, my fair captain. Oh, my fair captain. You will love me soundly with your French heart. I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell that is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Oh, bon Dieu, les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperies.
What say you, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceit.
The course of true love never did run smooth.
I'm glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst, you would find me such a plain king that thou wouldst think that I had sold my farm to buy my crown. I know no ways to mince it in love, but directly to say, I love you. How say you, lady?
Sauf votre honneur, me understand well. Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, it is not possible, Kate. Je compte sur la possession de moi. Donc votre est France, et vous êtes mienne. Oh, it is as easy for me, Kate, to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. How say it? La plus belle Catherine du monde montré chère et devint 10.
Your Majesty are false French enough to deceive the most sage demoiselle that was on France. How did you know French excites me so, my hero king?
Oh, plaisir d'amour. Now the Napoleonic ward.
I was no antichrist, but if I had the religious zeal of Martin Luther behind me, I could have conquered Europe and Arabia together. I would have been irresistible. La gloire, mon empereur, mon général, élan vital, master maneuver, mutilé de guerre. The moral is to the physical 10-1. What was the island of Elba to me after being emperor of Europe? Talleyrand betrayed me. I always said he was a shit in silk stockings.
Napi!
Ah, ma chère impératrice, Josephine.
Don't mon cher jive me. I don't care if you have countries to conquer, kingdoms to kick ass. Take out the garbage from the garage.
Open locks, whoever knocks! I prophesy he comes to ask if I'm a racist.
William!
In the wee small hours of the morning. Having a bad dream, Doctor.
Nightmarish!
Sure you're not projecting your projectile.
What a Napoleonic nightmare. What was verse? I dreamt the nurse was Desdemonia, and I Black Othello. I must ask, were you a racist?
Some of my characters were. Desdemona wasn't. Her father died of racism. Personally, I believe in the foibles of mankind cutting across racial lines. In my own day, the African slave trade was well underway under Drake, with the Queen complicit. Commercial fair play, they say, well before Brown versus the Board of Ed, and Rosa Parks who wouldn't budge to the back of the bus, before the shooting of Aborigines for sport, before drug cases clogged the courts, before Kipling and Mandela and Rodney King, before Southern slavery and turn-of-the-new century skinheads and feed your country or kill you in Somalia, followed by the perfect warrior, manslayer of all time.
Finally! Women ordained combat pilots. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high. Virginia Slims and I. True, I don't have any balls to be blown. Now I've got tits to be tatted. I'm gonna ride that rod and bomb their balls off and blow them out of the sky in the cockpit of my Jaguar jugular. You'll respect me then, men, my cohorts in the cockpits, 'cause I'm a high-flying female fighter fucker!
Gays can kill too, honey, with just as much esprit de corps as anyone. Equal right to fight and seek the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. Once more into their britches, dear friends, once more.
This is unheard of.
No, it's not. Some of the greatest captains in history were gay. Caesar swung both ways. He was every woman's husband and every man's wife. Et tu, in your tutu, brute.
This postmodernist style is beyond me. I died on the eve of World War II. Historians will say the two German wars of the 20th century.
The last time we bombed white folk, parenthetically.
Exactly. Which brings us full circle back to my question, were you racist? Obviously not. But we deviate from your complex sexuality. Some of your sonnets are blatantly bi, Guy.
I'm unisexual. But jack up the computer to quantify the references to sex in my work, including innuendo. It wants to data debase into categories: adultery, bestiality, pederasty, pedophilia, necrophilia, comical anatomical references, onanism, 1900 Madonna, or what? Die for adultery, it queries. No, the wren goes to it, and the small gilded fly does lecher in my sight. Let copulation thrive! Something else is spewing up.
I shall no more to see, so shall I die ashore. This is a scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The muster, the swabber, the boatswain and I.
Oh, spice means qualities, and the captain too, the boatswain.
The gunner and his mate love Mon, Megan, Meredith, Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate, for she had a tongue with a tang. would cry to a sailor go hang. She loved not the savour of tar nor of pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where she did itch. Was a scurvy tune too. Well, here's my comfort. Drink, sir, is a great provoker of two things.
What two things does drink especially provoke?
Sleep and urine. Lechery, sir, it provokes and it unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on and takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him. It makes him stand to and not stand to.
This is the most gross breach of professional discipline, nurse.
Well, you are to call in all the alehouses and bid those that are drunk get them to bed.
How they will not, constable.
Why then, let them alone till they are sober. If they make you not, the better answer you may say, they are not the man you took them for. Well, God is a good man.
The lateness of the hour does not excuse these antic dispositions.
Nor does it preclude them.
Don't preclude in the nude, dude, whatever you do. I'm no prude, dude.
Snap out of it, nurse.
Well, just take notes, asshole. Or better yet, snort another line or two. We read all about you.
Cease and desist, I insist. One more hug and I'll pull the plug.
You mean our revels now are ended as I foretold you?
The now bestimmt. I am doing this because repressing emotion causes cancer. I've not only tooted this snowy stuff, I've touted it. Besides, this is a high-stress job, dealing with smooth-talking psychotic geniuses that nurses routinely fall in love with in direct proportion to their contempt of me. I have yet to learn to cope with this. Oh, full of scorpions is my mind. A man's got to believe in something, and I believe I'll snort another line.
Doctor! The new patient is ready to be admitted.
Okay, bring him in, nurse. Okay, rev him up, and we'll start another 24-hour cycle. Another day, another new patient. This eternal, diurnal, nocturnal rehearsal.
All the world's a stage.
At least it's no tale told by an idiot.
Full of sound and fury.
Signifying nothing. Good morning, sweet prince.
Have a nice iambic pentameter and onomatopoeia.
The plays that read.
Postfolio postscript. Master Shakespeare's Dream. Lords and ladies of the court, the Virgin Queen, after whom a state of the Union, Virginia, and an entire era, the Elizabethan, are named, imprisoned as a princess in the Tower by her half-sister, after whom a drink, Bloody Mary, is blamed. Young Bess blossomed into England's greatest monarch. Lords and ladies, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth.
Time, my kingdom for more time, I cried on my deathbed. But then one's own demise is such a personal affair. But on this side of the ground, power being the ultimate aphrodisiac that it is, who gives a fig if my virginity was real or a fabricated raison d'etat? Was I more murderous than I had to be in such a brutally intolerant century of inflation and syphilis? That is the question. Certainly I tempered the tyranny of my father, who ruled brilliantly, brutally, emotionally, decapitating my mother. Baron of womb, I am the mother of imperial England, spawning my sailors to the seas, to seize an empire, but in my old age was frightened by the rising tide of the businessman. But all this pales beside my muse of fire that sustained the Renaissance. I was its patron saint and protectress. Through me flowed the rebirth of art, learning the sciences, fluent in half a dozen languages, a bibliophile. I read as many books as anyone in Europe. I loved plays and comedies. I wrote on the side myself between the wars. In fact...
Your Majesty! Your Majesty, Master What's his, Shake Face is waiting in the covert of the palace vestibule.
Oh. You mean Master Shakespeare?
Yeah, he wants to know, when shall we three meet again or something, whether 'tis nobler...
Wait! I like the ring of that. When shall we three meet again? And what else? Whether 'tis nobler. I'm going to use those pearls that roll so trippingly off Master Shakespeare's tongue. Tell me what they've performed at court in a fortnight.
What's it called?
Dream of a midsummer's night.
Thinks we should write a play about the Pied Piper.
Tell them to take them as they come or I'll cut off his Marty's head, his real estate subsidies.
What else should I tell him?
That he's the last man in our mouths.